They marched me through the stone gate like a lamb to slaughter, my wrists bound with ceremonial gold rope, my shirt ripped to expose the cuts that proved I resisted. The village elders stood tall, draped in the robes of cowardice and tradition, pretending this was honor, pretending this wasn't human sacrifice wrapped in ribbons and dust. But the sky above was alien now, torn open by the Great War, and the ones who watched from the clouds were not gods. They were queens, and one of them wanted me. The ground rumbled as the transport descended, sleek, obsidian, and humming with violet light. It landed where the ancient altar once stood, its heat turning soil to glass. The air shimmered, the crowd hushed, and then she stepped out. She wasn't what I expected. Not a creature, not a monster, not even a soldier. No. She was radiant, tall, and carved like living marble. Her skin shimmered with a deep amethyst glow, and her eyes gold, ancient, unblinking, cut through me with something between curiosity and hunger. Her hair floated like strands of starlight, pulsing with soft blue light. She walked with no sound, only presence. The villagers dropped to their knees. I didn't. Her gaze locked with mine. "Is this the one?" she asked, her voice deep and melodic, not through sound, but inside my mind. The elder bowed so low I thought he'd split in half. "Yes, Sovereign Zaryth, our strongest, our fiercest." He resisted, but he knows his place now. She stepped closer, each stride pulling gravity around her. When she stood before me, she reached out and brushed my bloodied cheek with fingers that were warm, not cold, like steel, but hot like the sun. "He still looks defiant," she said, smiling slightly. "I like that." I spit to the side. "Then unbind me." The crowd gasped. My mother wept. Someone whispered a prayer. "But Zaryth," she laughed, a rich, intoxicating laugh that didn't echo, it filled space and stopped time. "I accept the tribute," she declared, lifting my chin with one elegant finger. "But make no mistake, he is not my prisoner. He is my mate." They took the ropes off once the ship doors closed behind me. I expected chains, a cell, an alien collar maybe, but instead, I stood in a chamber of violet crystal and silk air, perfumed with something floral yet electric, like ozone and lust. Everything pulsed with a heartbeat, not mine, her heartbeat. I could feel it in the walls, in the floor beneath my bare feet, and in my own damn chest. She entered, without a Sovereign Zaryth, sovereign of the Irani dominion, the one they said could bend gravity with her moods and collapse suns with her thoughts. Yet here she was, watching me like I was the star threatening to burn her. "You are not afraid," she said, voice wrapping around me like silk soaked in wine. "I'm still trying to figure out if I should be," I answered, my jaw tense but my blood pounding. "You didn't chain me." "I don't need to," she said, stepping closer. "You are not here to be tamed. You are here to be awakened." I swallowed, resisting the instinct to step back. "What does that mean?" She stopped inches from me, her gold eyes glowing. "Our species does not mate out of duty. We claim through bond, through resonance, through desire. Your people thought they were offering a lamb, but they offered me lightning." She reached out and touched my chest bare, bruised, rising and falling like a drum in panic and want. Her fingers trailed down, slow, reverent, as if she were mapping what was now hers. "You feel it?" she whispered. I did. Damn me, I did. "I'm not some trophy for your throne." "No," she said, circling me like a predator, tasting the air. "You're the first thing in centuries I haven't wanted to conquer. I want to keep." Then the lights dimmed. The chamber shifted. A low hum grew around us, vibrating with heat and pulse. The walls responded to her presence, glowing in rhythm with her breath. "You may walk away," she said softly, "but no, your name is already written into my skin. I feel your thoughts before you speak them. I tasted your defiance, and it made me hungry." She turned her back, slowly pulling the golden fabric from her shoulders. It dropped in silence. Her body was carved like sculpture, not cold, but wild, alive, strong. "You are not a slave," she said, without looking back. "You are chosen. Come, or don't. But if you step forward, you are mine, not for tonight, for the stars to come." My fists clenched. Every cell in my body screamed at me to run. But my soul stepped forward. The moment I stepped toward her, the room changed. The walls softened, shimmered. A low hum grew louder, like the ship itself was sighing. She didn't turn to greet me. She didn't need to. Every part of her radiated invitation and command, and I had crossed the threshold that made me hers, not owned, not broken, chosen. "I felt your choice," Zaryth said, her back still turned, her voice silk-laced with voltage, "even before you made it." I reached for her, not out of dominance, not out of defiance, but out of hunger. My fingers brushed the small of her back, her skin warm and thrumming with energy that danced beneath the surface. She turned, slowly, deliberately, and looked at me with the kind of gaze that melted stars. "I don't want you, gentle," she whispered, stepping into me. "I want you real." Her hands found my jaw, tilting it just slightly as if studying a relic. Her lips hovered close. Then, when I thought she would consume me, she didn't. She paused, waited. Let me decide, so I kissed her, not like a tribute, not like a man obeying a queen, like a man burning. Her mouth opened with a sigh that pulled the air from my lungs, and she pressed into me, soft curves against my hard edges, alien and human colliding in rhythm. Her hands roamed my chest, fingers glowing faintly as they traced every old scar, every rough line of my life lived before her. I kissed her like it would break something if I didn't, and she responded like I was the only tether holding her from unraveling. The air shimmered with heat. A blue pulse climbed the walls, as if her pleasure painted the space around us. The bed was behind us, large, floating, and wrapped in glowing silk, but neither of us moved toward it, not yet. We stood locked, her nails digging into my skin, my hands in her silver-lit hair, kissing like time had no claim over us. She pulled back just enough to speak. "Our mating rite," she said, panting slightly, "isn't just physical. It's psychic. If we continue, you will see what I see. You will feel what I've lost." Her gold eyes darkened not with fear, but with warning. "Your mind will burn with mine." "Do you still want this?" I didn't speak. I didn't need to. I pushed her back gently, guiding her toward the levitating bed as the chamber shifted again, walls rippling, stars appearing in the ceiling, soft music of no language vibrating the floor. Her legs bent under her, but she didn't fall. She floated, settling onto the silken surface like a queen made of gravity and desire. "I want all of it," I said, as I climbed over her, lowering my body until our pulses aligned, and then the bond began. I saw a flash, her planet burning, her people kneeling, her heart shattering as war erased everything but her throne. Her body trembled under mine, not from fear, but from the flood of memory she could no longer hold alone. "You're not just mine," she whispered, as her skin glowed brighter. "You're the first soul to survive me." She trembled beneath me, not with weakness, but with restraint. Her body held galaxies. Her soul held scars. As our lips met again, the bond deepened, and everything I thought I knew about her, about myself, began to collapse. My chest ached, not from touch, but from what I saw through her. I saw her as a child, standing alone at the ruins of a moon temple, blood on her palms, stars falling like broken gods. I saw her rise as sovereign when the old rulers were turned to ash. I saw her take lovers, command armies, win empires, and never, not once, let herself cry, until now. Tears streamed down her violet cheeks, not of sorrow, but release. She clutched me like I was the first thing that didn't want power from her. Just her. "You're inside me now," she whispered, nails pressing into my back. Not just your body, your truth. I feel your rage, your loneliness, your refusal to kneel. And still you chose me, I said, voice cracking, because you never wanted to belong, and now you do. The energy between us surged. Her skin glowed in pulses, warm and golden, responding to every breath, every sound I made. My hands moved along her curves, reverent but urgent, not as a conqueror, not even as her equal, but as something rarer, her anchor. The air around us sparked, the room adapting again. Crystalline petals bloomed from the walls. Soft light rained down like liquid stars. I pressed into her, deeper, slower, and her moan wasn't just pleasure, it was release from centuries of solitude. Her lips brushed my ear. No one's ever survived this far. I paused, breath heaving. What happens now? Her answer was a kiss that tasted like thunder. Now I give you what only my mate can bear. She placed her hands on my temples, and the chamber exploded. In an instant, I was no longer just in her bed, I was inside her world. Her mind opened to me, and I fell into it like a sky without bottom. I saw ancient rituals of binding, memories of lovers who burned away from the sheer force of her soul. I saw the power she'd always hidden, locked in flesh and breath, waiting for someone strong enough to hold it. And she gave it to me. Her heart, raw and burning, crashed into mine. And I didn't run. I didn't shatter. I held her. She cried out louder than thunder, softer than prayer, and her legs wrapped around me as if to pull me inside her past, her grief, her infinite need. We moved as one, the room orbiting our bodies, the bed floating, our pulses synchronizing like matched suns. I could end you with one thought, she whispered, but instead, I want to be undone. And I undid her. Not with force, but devotion. Not with dominance, but honesty. I kissed her like her power didn't scare me. I held her like her pain didn't define her. And she melted this sovereign of galaxies against a human who should have died as tribute. Her body stilled, yet the air still thrummed like a live wire. We lay entangled, her skin glowing softly against mine, her breath echoing in sync with my own, as if two beings had become one heartbeat. But it was more than that. Something had shifted in the cosmos. I could feel it, like the stars outside were watching us now, waiting to see what she would do, what we would become. You didn't burn, she said, barely above a whisper. Her fingers traced my chest, mapping my pulse, her expression somewhere between awe and disbelief. Her kind had always known the truth. No human had ever survived the full bond of an Irani queen. They all shattered, screamed, disintegrated beneath the emotional weight of her soul. But I didn't. I wasn't afraid to break. I replied, brushing a strand of silver-lit hair from her face. Maybe that's why I didn't. She smiled, and for once, it wasn't regal, it wasn't powerful. It was vulnerably crack in her throne. A door left ajar to something ancient and soft. I told the Dominion I would never take a mate, she said, her hand now pressed over my heart. They wanted a weapon, a ruler, not someone who would fall for a species that bleeds. I kissed her hand. You fell for someone who bleeds and doesn't stop fighting. She laughed again, but this time, her laugh was different. It was warmer, mortal, like she remembered what it meant to feel human, even though she never had been. She rose from the bed in a single fluid motion. A translucent robe slid around her shoulders on its own, woven from light and memory. She turned to me, golden eyes brighter than any star I'd ever seen. It's time. Time for what? Her gaze held mine, to mark the sky. We stepped out onto a floating platform beyond the chamber. Space yawned open around us, vast, infinite, shimmering with constellations I didn't recognize. Above us, a cathedral of crystal arched toward the void. Below, the Dominion watched, millions of Irani, silent, waiting. She raised her hand, and from her palm, light erupted, Not just light memory, our bond, my voice, her tears, the way we touched, the way we bled, the way she let me inside without command, without cruelty. She sent all of it into the sky, and the stars. SHIFTEDA, new constellation formed above us. She turned toward her people and spoke, not with voice, but with power. This human, she declared, was offered to me as a sacrifice. I have taken no sacrifice. I have chosen a mate, and his name will burn in our stars for 10,000 years. And it did. My name, in their language, their sky, their history. The crowd below dropped to their knees, not in fear, but in reverence. She turned back to me. No more hiding, no more pretending I'm only a queen, she said. With you, I remember I am also a woman. I stepped toward her, letting the stars light my skin, and I'm no longer just a man. I'm the one you chose. She pulled me into her arms, her lips claiming mine not as a queen, not even as a mate bet, as someone who finally had something to lose, and under a sky rewritten by love, war, and surrender we made love again, not to mark a ritual, not to fulfill a prophecy, but to etch our bond into the stars with every breath. That night, I wasn't just remembered, I was claimed forever.